Hey guys, it's Vincent with VASCO Today I'm coming at you with another VASCO Tips episode. We're going to talk about concept sketches today. When to use concept sketches when you're planning a diorama build, and when to not use concept sketches. And this is all based on my personal experience. It may not work for you, but I wanted to share with you guys what I typically do, and I hope you enjoy it.
VASCO Toys, action figure, dioramas, and props.
So concept sketches are something that I definitely rely on when I do commission work, because I like to ensure that the person who is commissioning a diorama is comfortable with what I'm doing and that we're on the same page. So typically somebody will reach out to me and ask me what they'll tell me what they want, and then I will send them a concept sketch with a quote, and usually it has size measurements. You'll see on some of these other ones I'm going to share with you that they do. And then there's other times, like for this particular diorama, this was not a commission. This was actually something I made just because I wanted to make, and then Unparalleled Universe ended up buying this, so thank you, Wade, for that, of course. And this piece is probably one of the more detailed concept sketches that I do. That I have done, and they don't always have to be quite so detailed. Really, the way that I like to do concept sketches is I want to make sure that I have a good idea and a plan of what I'm doing, because if you wing it, sometimes you don't think things through enough in the moment, and this really helps me understand if things logically make sense. So this is supposed to be like a sci-fi corridor, or a section of a sci-fi corridor. So we have like the door, the keypad, some vents, some other things that are supposed to add visual interest. And I'm going to show you guys the final versions of these, because I've made all the ones that I'm going to show. And then you can kind of see some of them look very similar to the concept sketches, and then other times I'll call an audible midway and I'll change things up. But at least I started with some level of a plan. So this one was one of my sci-fi pieces, which had almost like a glassy floor on it, which I'm really proud of. So that's that one. Then here's another one that I did that I'm really proud of. I've done this particular dio twice at two different sizes. So this is the RPD station from Resident Evil, and you'll see here, so like here I have measurements, so 6 inches deep, 30 inches wide, and 12 inches tall from top to bottom. So I like to include that when I can, and then I'll show there's like functional lighting in here. I'll show the signage, the doors, all that kind of stuff. So there's the RPD station. Here's an X-Mansion gate. So this one even has more dimensions to it, and it shows again the gate, functional lights, columns, brickwork, signage, the decorative top portions of the columns, and then you've got the dimensions, so 20 across, 12 high, this section's 6, this section's 8, this section's 6. Even show like how much room will be between the bottom of the pillar and the top of the pillar, 3 inches, and then the height of the brick wall, which is 9. Because I wanted, this was a commission piece, and I wanted to communicate clearly with the client that what exactly they would be getting. And then if I get into the work and there's any changes that need to be made, I'll update the person and say, okay, so the concept sketch said 9 and it actually ended up being 10 or something like that. That's just an example. So here's one that was a commission as well, and this one was really important that I did a concept sketch because it was huge. This is a 3-story diorama. I don't have a YouTube video for this, but it is on my Instagram, and I'll show a picture of the final version so you guys can see it. But when you're doing something like this big, and this was a costly one, I really always want to make sure that the customer is happy no matter what. But when you're doing a really big project, you definitely don't want any issues happening throughout the piece. So I like to try to over communicate with people, and that starts with making sure that they're okay with the concept sketch. So this is a 3-story building. This ended up looking a little bit different, but the basic layout was the same, with like the door and the electrical work boxes on this side. And then we had some windows. I think the actual piece doesn't have windows on the first floor, but it does on the second and third. and the sidewalk and all of that. So, and I think it said it was 24 inches. It says 24 inches here, but I think it was actually like 33, something like that. So that's a difference. And then this was a, this says Popeyes on it, but this was actually for Jacksepticeye. It's Dope Yes was his version of this restaurant. So this is basically very similar to what the final concept was, except the signage ended up being different. And I think the final one that I'm going to show you guys, this is my wall-mounted piece. And actually there's one more after this. So this is my wall-mounted piece that I did as my first ever pre-order, limited run pre-order. And, you know, again, like this isn't really to scale. If you look at the actual diode, this is a little wider, but again, this is really just to give me a concept. It needed to be 15 inches tall, 10 inches wide. I wanted to have, I think this has 3 windows on it. The actual piece has 2 because I realized it was not going to work out at those dimensions. So as you can see, like you start with a plan and then you kind of like go off of, you know, what actually practically happens with the foam. And just another one to show. So this isn't exactly what the final piece looked like, but this is a dojo I did for Daredevil 19, who's been definitely a friend of the channel for a while. And so the main difference here is I had like this closet that with sliding doors off to the right, and it actually ended up being in the center. So just a small difference that happened that we agreed on as we were working on this. But otherwise, it pretty much looks the way that it would. And this is a DTOF one, so you'll see, like I always mention DTOF diodes being 14 by 13 by, it could be maximum of 15. We went with 14 on here, so there'd be a little bit of space to put it in. But that's the diode that I did for Daredevil 19. So here's an example of an unfinished diorama. I'm getting closer on this, but it's not done, work in progress, where I did not use a concept sketch. This wasn't a commission. This was something I wanted to just tackle. I've never done a sewer diorama before this, and so I did not use a concept sketch, but what I did do was reference a lot of different images that I found in comic books and Google searches and anywhere that I could find something that looked like a cool sewer. And then what I did from there was kind of like take elements of all those different things in my mind and make the layout for this. So I wanted to have some brickwork, so I do have 2 brick walls, but I didn't want the entire thing to be brickwork because I just thought it would be kind of cool since it's a sewer, it's underground. It doesn't have to be like a perfect, you know, like architectural marvel or anything like that. It's a sewer. So we've got a drain, we got some pipes, there's going to be more pipes in here, brick walls, and then some like stained concrete. And so really for this, I did kind of like on the fly, you know, start messing around and experimenting with foam, like put a block of 2-inch foam here, say, how does that look? I liked it, so I moved forward with it. But then maybe, you know, like originally I think I was going to have a huge drain in the middle, but I didn't really want the focus to be on the drain as much. I wanted to be able to have several different things going on, so I opted not to do that. I put it off to the side. And then, you know, I was like wanting a door. I wanted to have, there's going to be an outlet here, and there's going to be actually like concrete ladder steps that go up to the street level. And so all that stuff was sort of experimented with as I was going through this. And so you can definitely, you know, do diodes without doing concept sketches. And I do like to do that from time to time. It's just really when I feel like I'm doing a commission and I want people to understand completely what I'm viewing and that our visions match up, it's really important to me to do a concept sketch in those instances. The only exception would really be if they send me a picture of something from a show or a movie or TV show or like video game that is like they want this exact thing. I still like go over dimensions with them, but I may not do a concept sketch in those instances. Thanks for tuning into this episode of VASCO Tips, where we talked about concept sketches, when to use them and when to not. This is something that I found a lot of success with, my approach on this, and I hope that you find it valuable. If you do, please hit the thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate everyone who watches our videos. We want to continue to put out good content for you guys, for anyone who's doing dioramas, 3D printing, model making of any kind. We want to put out that content for you guys. So we are going to see you guys in the next episode, and we hope that you enjoyed this one.